And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. Shiva School Show. What's up, ZoomShteig 197. The Sech is Beitza of Gimel Amid Aleph in the schools of the soldiers and the captain. So we saw Stira yesterday in Rabbi Yochanan, but we didn't get to see all the Rashis. And so we're just going to go through the Gemara with the Rashis. Rabbi Yochanan says he holds that the reason that Beis Hillel says that don't eat the egg is a gezerah because it's similar, the egg coming out of the butt of the chicken, similar to the juice coming out of the frozen fruit. So now it's saying, why does Rabbi Yochanan hold that this is the gezerah? Because of a stira between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yehuda. Right, we saw this yesterday. The first one is a mission that we saw in Shabbos that Ein Sochten as a barrels lohotzi mehemashi. You can't squeeze. Ve'im yadzu me'adman asurin. If they come out themselves, they're asur. Rabbi Yehuda says, if you're eating them you're going to eat the fruit, so then the juice that came out of it is not a problem because it's davar lo nichale. Right? He doesn't want the juice to come out. He wants to eat these fruit. The in the mashgin, but if he wants the juice, so then I heard we have asr, the juice other. So we see everything for Ochlin. Rabbi Yehuda would say Ochlin the Evraz is food that comes out of food, and it would say that's mutter because you're going to eat the egg. You're going to eat the egg, eat the chicken. Right, so it's not similar to the gezerah of like squeezing the fruit because this is for ochlet. Uraminu, but there's a steer of Odom review. Review also says that Matna Adam Alko Kalasho Peros Biyom Dovrijom Oglu Basheni. But if he wants to take Trumas and Meisters, he forgot to do it before Yantif. He could do that on the second day. He could eat on the first day, then the second day, Manav Shach. Remember we learned yesterday the Manav Shach that you got? Either way, if it's Yantif the first day, so the second day, no problem. If the first day was Yantif, so then you already did tonight, and the first day you already took away the truma, and if the second day is chol, second day is yadif, so then you did yesterday, which was chol, you did the truma meiser. And also, Beitza should know that it's born on the first day, eat on the second day. So the second day you can eat it, but not on the first day. So it says Rashi over here, the first one's chol, and the second one's yadif. And so the reason so it says the second day you can eat it, but the first day you can't. So we see that everything that comes out of its place on Yantiv, and even food, we see when it's talking about the fruits that you're taking truma from. So it's a stira because in the one place Rabbi Yochanan said that when it's food, it's okay if it comes out on that day, food coming out of food. And the second one, he seems to say that even if it's food, you still can't have it if it flowed out from its place, aka that like it was tevel, it was not truma meiser. You couldn't take it. You couldn't eat it because it had truma meiser mixed up together, and so then you took it and you moved it status, maybe it's saying you moved its status, and so since you moved its status, you can't eat it on that day on the first day. You have to wait until the second day. Umashani, and so Rabbi Yochanan, from this fact that these two missions contradict each other in the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, and Umashani Rabbi Yochanan Muchlefes Hashita, that we switch the opinions. Says Rashi, Umashani Rabbi Yochanan Muchlefes Hashita. Shita is a mitzvah, the mitzvah that you can't squeeze. The ibuch, the Rabbi Yochanan, the Rabbanan. So he said, so Rabbi Yochanan said that Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanan opinion switch. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that says don't squeeze on pears, and the Chachamim say no, if it's food, it's okay. And that's why Rabbi Yehuda has his opinion that the egg that is born in Yontif, you can't eat it on that first day, only on the second day. So Shema Mina, it says Umidika Merami Rabbi Yochanan Mashkim Shazavu Beitza Adadi. So from the fact that Rabbi Yochanan brings the contradiction from the liquids that spritz, and that come out, and the egg which comes out. So Shema Mina, we hear from here that there's one reason that the one who says that that we see that the egg and the juices that are coming out of when you squeeze the fruit, we see that it's the same reason. And that's why, so we see that Rabbi Yochanan sees that the egg, and that's why Rabbi Yochanan says that the reason for the egg is a gezerah because of the juice coming out. We see that there's one reason. If you make the egg usher to eat, then that means that you hold of the gezerah of the juice. And if you say the egg is no problem, you can eat the egg, so then you have no problem with squeeze. Gimel Amud Beis. Ravina says, La'olam lo tipach. He says, don't switch the Mishnah. Say that Rabbi Yehuda was the one who says no about the squeezing, and even if it comes out of it. And then the Rabbanan were the ones who said if it's squeezing out, if you're planning on eating it, so it's okay because it's lo nichale that the juice came out. But if you're planning on drinking it, then it is nichale, the juice comes out, so you can't have it. Ravina says, don't switch it up. Rabbi Yehuda l'divrayim the Rabbanan Tamar. Rabbi Yehuda is saying, according to you guys, I'm saying. He says, we say like this. According to me, afilu berisho nami sharia. Even on the first day, it's okay. Just like I said, the egg is okay on the first day. Because ochla de efras, it's food that comes off of food. Right? Ella is true, but according to you, Rabbanan, that you said you can't eat the egg on the first day. Odu Mihas, you agree with me, however, the Bisheni Sharia. On the second day, it's permissible to stay Kedushos egg. Because it's really two Kedushos. Found the Rabbanan answer, no Kedusha Achazi. It's one Kedusha. Let's see Rashi. The Evras, he gave it to Mishum Schita, Lega Mishum Mashkin Shazavu, Nami Lega, Beomedis Lachila. So he says he doesn't hold of Shchita, and he doesn't hold also Mashkin Shazavu, the juice that comes out when it's something that you're going to eat, right? Omedis Lachila. Now this is very interesting because the chicken, we split the chicken into two categories. Either it's a chicken that was omedes to have eggs, to lay more eggs, or a chicken that was omedes to eat. And it's also the same thing with the fruit. If you were omedes la'achila, you're going to eat it, so then there's no problem that the juice came out. But if you were omedes l'shtia, so then it is a problem. So that's just a good Zushtel. Hirschfleisch, Shalom Aleich. So we have Ravina talking about 2 days of Yantif in Galus. Ravina says to the rabbis, even though you guys, Rabbi Yehuda, Ravina in his explanation of the Mishnah in Shabbos, he would have the Rabbi Yehuda say to the Rabbanan, I'm just saying, according to you guys, that you won't eat it on the first day. For me, you can even eat the egg on the first day. For you guys who are saying you can't eat it on the first day, but on the second day, you should be able to eat it because it's two Kedushos, because one of the days is Yantif, one of the days is Chol. you would admit, you would agree to me that the second day is permissible. The Chad B'nai Cholu, because one of the days is Chol and one of the days is Kodesh. So Amrila Rabbanon, the rabbi say to him, Lo Kedusha Achati, the 2 days of Yandiv are one Kedusha. Says Rashi, the Lo Damu L'Shar Yom Tovim is not similar to the other Yom Tovim. The Hanach Lav Mishum Sveika Iskun. Beryl, sorry. Tzvi, Hirschweiss. This might have been, so the Kedusha Achas. This might be talking about Rosh Hashanah. There is a difference in the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. Shalom Aleichem Avi Mairi. There is a difference between the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah and the 2 days of Yatir. So the Rabbanan say no, it's Kedusha Achas. The Lo Damu is not similar to the other Yom Tovim. Dahanach Lav Mishum Sveika. The 2 days of Rosh Hashanah is not because of a suffix. Iskin. It's not because of a suffix like I saw yesterday. The Av Bisman Bezdin, even when Bezdin was around, they would make 2 days of Yatif on Rosh Hashanah. Im Bo Eidim Min Mincha Ulamayla. If the witnesses came from Mincha and above, like it says in Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so those are 2 different ways to understand the stira in Rabbi Yehuda, right? Rabbi Yochanan says, "Oh, you've switched the shita." Rabbi Yehuda must be saying that he doesn't hold the shita because he says he doesn't hold of eating the egg on the first day. So we see that Rabbi Yehuda held that the reason that you can, the rationale for the egg and the rationale for the juice coming out of the fruit is one thing. But then Ravina says no. Success. Wow. One is just okay, so the Rabbanan say no, it's one Kedusha. So Ravina, the son of Rav Ula, says, no, the reason for Rabbi Yehuda, the stira that you asked is not a question. I'll give you a third reason. This is Ravina's son. And he says, we're dealing here with a chicken that is Omedes Legadel Beitzim. It is set aside. We're not thinking we're going to eat this chicken on Yantif or on Rosh Hashanah. We're setting aside that it's going to just continue giving us eggs. And for Rabbi Yehuda, and so you think, oh my God, what is this contradiction? Rabbi Yehuda, it doesn't stem. Rabbi Yehuda, this is according to his reasoning that we saw in Shabbos. Rabbi Yehuda has muksa. Rabbi Yehuda easily muksa. Rabbi Yehuda has muksa. Rashi does not. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai does not have mitzvah as muksa, not in the way that we were taught it. Today's share sponsored by Talking Tati and Sons. Baruch Atah B'Chalav Shkol Devarai.
Special dating keeper.
Special dating keeper. Okay. So we could go deeper into that whole idea of Muflefes Hashita and why Reb Yochanan felt that he had to switch the Mishnah. And we can see Teisfis. Or we can together go on and see another challenge from the Gemara and maybe even see a Rambam. Meisvei, the Gemara brings a challenge. Echad Beitza shenoda b'Shabbos ve'echad Beitza shenoda b'Yom Tov. Ein mitaltel in Osha. So we just spent an entire daf trying to explain that no, we're not talking about moksha. The first Mishnah in Beitza is talking about hachana, which, by the way, we asked clouds by. Amazing to see a Rabbi Yed. So we asked, why is Beitza? Why is this Masechta called Beitza? The Masechta talks about Yantif. And so we see that the Pshat in the first Mishnah is talking about Beitza, is talking about hachana. And we saw that the whole Masechta of Mesilas Yesharim is about how this world, Hashem is a metaphor. This world is a preparation for the next world. And just like the 6 days of the week is a preparation for Shabbos Kodesh. And so we spoke about Hachana, and we established that according to everyone, according to the Rif, according to the Rambam, according to the Rosh, the reason that you can't have the egg in the Mishnah is because it's talking about Yantif that falls out day after Shabbos. And it's because of Hachana that the egg is getting ready, prepared in the stomach of the mom. And so this is a Hachana min hashamayim. And still the Torah is telling us, yo, it's all about what you prepare in this world. For the next world, prepare for Yantif, prepare for Shabbos. Shalom Aleichem Zikri Arizalman. And it's a
What's
very important Hachana. It's also called, it's a concept called Zimun, preparing. If you have, we're going to learn later on in the Masechta, because the whole Masechta talks about Hachana. The third chapter, it also talks about if you have a chicken that you want you want to shecht on Yantif, so you had to know about it before Yantif. If you had, right, if you can't catch an animal on Yantif, you can't do tzad, and so it's all about zimun and achana. It's about the preparation for the Shabbos, preparation for the Yantif. And that's why the Masechta of Yantif, it starts off with preparation. And I think that the reason it takes a food, Beitza, is because it's very important in Yantif is to eat. And why does it specifically choose the egg? Maybe because the egg is reminiscent of the Korban Chagiga on the Seder plate. And Korban Chagiga we bring on Yantif. And so we call Masechus Yantif, Masechus egg. But it's the idea of Hachana, of the preparation. But then the Gemara goes and they ask the stira in Rabbi Yehuda, and they say, Ravina Berei de Rav Ula, maybe the different Ravina, and he says like this. He says, it's about that case that Rav Yehuda is talking about. You're right. Beishai Beis Hill, they weren't talking about muksa, they were talking about Hachana. But Rabbi Yehuda, when he was talking in that Mishnah that we saw at the beginning of Shir today, yesterday, etc., he was dealing with muksa. That's the reason he said you can't eat it. It's not a stira. You don't have to switch the opinion in the Mishnah by schita. The reason that Rabbi Yehuda says is other is because of muksa. Now we're like, we're talking about muksa? Okay, Meisvei, let's have a challenge right there. Meisvei, echad beita shenoldu b'Shabbos, v'echad beita shenoldu b'Yantif. So if an egg that was born on Shabbos or on Yantif, ein mitaltal in osa. You can't carry it. Lo mikasos ba as a kli. You can use the egg to cover the vessel. The lo lismuch ba kirei. And also you can use the egg to like hold up the bed. Now Clownsby is thinking, what kind of extremely strong egg are we talking about? It happens to be a great question. It's my question also. What kind of egg? But you can't use it. You can't use it for that either. Maybe it's not a question of what kind of egg. Maybe the question is what kind of bed. Maybe it's a bed for an ant.
An egg bed.
An egg bed is bed for another egg.
Aww.
That's pretty cute. It's possible. So we got to see.
Just an egg crate.
An egg crate.
Yeah, just like a container of eggs.
An egg bed. Well, yo, Clouds by. Do you remember Garfield and Friends? There was an egg with legs running around.
Yeah.
That's what I think about every time I think about this Masechta. I think about that Yid running amok. So that's I
Dude.
think that's the egg. And so that egg could have been strong and could have held up a bed. Okay, so the Gemara says you can't be metaltal it, and you can't hold up the bed. Aval kofa Allah as a kli. So it says not lichkasos ba as a kli. You can't cover a kli with it, but you can cover it with a kli. Bishvil tishaver so that it shouldn't break. Visveka asura Ruveni, get out of here. Send a voice though. I mean, I love Ruveni. And we got to figure it out. When I learned the siyum, when I made the siyum on Avodah Zarah, it was supposed for Achtos in the family and Achtos in Yeshiva. And that counts, that includes Ruveni. So even though obviously I'm not going to answer him in the middle of Shir, but, we're sending him our love and our thoughts. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. All right. He just left me a voice note. I'm sure it was full of love. Okay. So if it's Sveka and if it's a Savek, it's Aser. If you're not sure when the egg was born, it's Aser. You have to see exactly why. The Im is Arba Ba'alef, and if it got mixed up with 1,000 other eggs, 1,000 other eggs, one of the eggs was dressed like a clown. No one could tell which of the other egg it was. It's Clowns by Garfield and Friends Egg Edition, where all the characters are eggs with legs. True story. So they're all usher if they get mixed in. With 1,000, 200 zeros. Says the Gemara, Bishlema the Rabba. I understand according to Rabba, the one who says about the Hachana, the Amar Mishum Hachana, that says that the reason that you can't have it is because of Hachana, Havi Speka Deraisa, right? I was about to ask this question. I'm glad that I didn't and let the Gemara ask it. Because I understand if you're telling me that the reason you can't have the egg is because it's a deraisa of doing Hachana, that preparing, right? We learned the deraisa from the man, that it says on the 6th day they would prepare and they would get 2 portions of man. Chol, you can prepare for Shabbos. Chol, you can prepare for Yontif, but you can't prepare Shabbos for Yontif, Yontif for Shabbos. So that's an Isra Deoraisa of Achana. Okay, I can understand why if the suffix it's Usr. Because what do we say? Suffix Deoraisa le. Suffix Deoraisa le. Clouds, I know you know this one.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, let me go. Suffix Derabanan lekula, but suffix
L'chumra,
Deoraisa
it's l'chumra.
Shkayach, DVJ, but it was Clouds by question.
He helped me out.
It's good. Teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay. So Savik Deraisa, the idea is that if there's a Savik from a Torah perspective, like an halacha from the Torah, so if you're not sure, you go to Chumrah. If it's Derabanan, if it's only the rabbis, it's a Derabanan law. So then if you're not sure, then you go to Kula. I'll give you an example, Klaus, by. If you're not sure, if you said Birkas Hamazon, you say it again because Birkas Hamazon is Deraisa. But if you're not sure, if you said a Bracha Rishona, so then you don't say it again because all Bracha Rishonas are only Derabanan. Thank you. Okay. So I understand if the Rabbo says Achana, I understand why it would be Sveka Asura, the Savik would be Asur because Savik Deraisa, Achana, Tachab Apasa. Ella, but not the Shittas Rav Yosef, Rav Yitzchak. They say the reason was because of Gezerah, the Amri Mishum Gezerah. Der hat gesagt, der Riber, the Tam from the Mishnah is a Gezaire. right? So it's Sveka Derabanan. If it's a Gezerah, so it's only some Derabanan. Savik Derabanan, even calls Sveka Derabanan, the Kula. So it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that why the egg would be usher to touch it, and the suffix would be usher. The suffix being usher only makes sense according to Rabbah, who said the reason was preparation, hachana. That would be deraisa, because it would be the pasuk by man. But the gezeras, that's the definition derabanan. So how could it say that suffix is usher? So here the Gemara goes and says something wild. Seifa asan the suffix trefa. Oh, we're saying that the suffix is aser. We're not talking about if you have to explain it according to the rabbis, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yossi, and Rav Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak, who say that the reason is because of a gezerah, either of a fruit falling or the juice getting squozen out. So they would have to say that when the Gemara says that the suffix is aser, talking about suffix trefa. So what's the suffix trefa? That the animal had like a wound.
So, but that isn't that specifically talking about like the korban?
No. In the egg, in the chicken. Wait a second. If that's the case, if I say the end, there's arba be'elef kuran asuros. But wait a second. You're telling me that they get mixed up with 1,000. They're all aser. So, if you're going to say that, I understand that the case of the stuffing they're talking about is if it's the suffix yantif, suffix chol, so then the egg would be considered something called the davar sheyesh bo matir, and it's something that will become mutter the next day. The kol davar sheyesh lo matirin. If it's a thing that will become permissible, the reason why it will become permissible is because the next day it's fine. Something yantif, if it was something Shabbos, okay, the next day you could eat it. Something Shabbos, something chol, something yantif, something chol. It's 2 day yantif. It's okay, fine. So then you eat it the next day, and all is good because you waited for enough time for it to be born. You didn't have the achana. There's no achana for chol. It's not important. It's not chashiva. Whoa. So that's the davar sheyesh bo matir, and a davar that has something that could be made permissible. A davar sheyesh bo matirin. So afilu be'elef lo batil. Now I can understand. They were telling me that the suffix is suffix yantif, suffix chol. So then I can understand. Then I can understand why I couldn't eat them even if it fell into 1,000, because it's a davar sheyesh bo matir, and it's going to be permissible the next day. So today it fell into 1,000, and none of them are permissible. But one of them is usher for today and will be mutter for tomorrow. And tomorrow everything's going to be mutter, so you can't eat them today. That makes sense if the gezerah is, if the suffix was suffix yantif, suffix chol. Ela iyamar suffix trefa. But if you say that, no, the reason is because the rabbi said a gezerah derabanan. So then why would suffix be usher? Oh, because it's talking about a suffix trefa, which is deraisa. Maybe the chicken was suffix damaged, suffix not damaged. Shalom aleichem Yisrael Eliyahu. So if you say that it's the suffix trefa, like we wanted to say for the rabbis who said gezerah, right? Gezerah derabanan. So then why would suffix usher? You have to say it talking about a suffix trefa. But if it's the suffix trefa, it's davar she'elo matirin. A suffix trefa can never become mutter. You can never just permit a suffix trefa. It's a trefa. It's going to be a trefa tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So it's considered a davar she'ein lo matirin. It does not have a way to become mutter. V'tivatel beruba. And something that doesn't have matirin, it gets batel berov. If you have one egg in 1,000 other eggs and this problem is suffix trefa, so then why would it be? So okay, fine. So then you can answer why the suffix would be usher, because suffix trefa is deraisa. But why would it not be batel in 1,000? We really have a big problem here. Either way you look at it, it doesn't work. Why would it be usher in 1,000 if it's suffix trefa? And if it's not Safek Treifa, so then why is it Safek Aser? Because it's just a Gezerah, it's only Safek Derabana. So we really are in a rock and a hard place here. Answers the sweet, sweet Gemara. And if you're going to try to answer it by saying, this is even before an answer, that Beitza Chashuva v'lo batla, based on egg, is very important. Something that's very important doesn't just get canceled like that very easily. So since the egg is Hanich Amar, okay, I understand according to Man Damar, this Kol Darko Limnos Shaninu. That when we're talking about something that's chashter, something that's important that doesn't get bottled. So I can understand the guy who says that an egg, why would an egg be important? That an egg is important because it's counted, right? An egg, you count the eggs. And so anything that's counted is important and therefore doesn't get bottled. That makes sense according to the guy who says that that's the case. It doesn't say kol shetar kol limnos, everything that you count, just as shetar kol limnos. This here, by the way, is a machlokas in Chulin and Avkov Amid Aleph. The machlokas of kol versus s. So what if you guys say s? So how can you answer it? It's not. No, let's see what we're talking about. Misha Haylo Chavile plus in Shel Klaya Karam. He had like a bunch of like bundles of Klaya Karam. Yidliku, burn it. Nizarvu be'acheros. What if it got mixed up with other bundles? Be'acheros. And the other bundles that it got mixed up with other bundles. Kulan Yidlaku, burn them all. Divrei Meir. That's what Meir says. The Chachamim say no. Yalu be'echad b'matayim. Right, 201. If there are 201 kosher ones in that one, so then you could take one out. It means yalu. You could just take one out of the 202, and it's all. Yeah, Zalman. All of these shiurim are lach leMoshe Misinai. It's like, where do we know this number 200, row 160? It's all from 1,000. It's all in halach leMoshe Misinai. These things, I believe. The Chachamim say, okay, that Meir would say, Eshedar Limnos Mikadesh. Everything that you count becomes holy. We have to see what that means. The Chachamim Omer Eno Mikadesh. No, it doesn't. Elashisha Devarim Bilvad. Only 6 things become Kodesh. We have to see what does it mean. What does it mean that they become Kodesh? But there are 6 things. Rabbi Akiva says 7, and these are they: Egoze perach, a type of walnut; Zalman, every food that we make, that we mentioned in Shir, I want to use in the Siyam on the Masechta Mir Tashem. So a special type of walnut, Egoze perach; Rimone badan, it's a type of pomegranate; Chavios sesumos, closed barrels; Chalbe tradin, I don't know, Pavad the sailor, man spinach; the kalche kruv, and the klach, the stalk of cauliflower or something. Vidalas Yavanis, and Greek melon. So those things are special. These things, you see, what the heck? Rabbi Akiva Mosiv Avki Karashovais. Right, even says even the bread of the house owner. Orla, glad Karen. So in those 7 things, some of them are ra'oi. It makes sense that they could have orla on them, like a pomegranate, if like the first 3 years that's grown. And if it's klai karam, so if it's a klai karam, for example, I don't know, something that for some reason doesn't have orla, but does have, it can't be klei karim, it can't be grown in the same thing. So they have klei karim. We have to see what it means at tikdash. Ve'idmar Allah, and it was said about this. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Eshedar Lim notion, and we thought Rabbi Yochanan says anything that is going to be counted is chashav maybe, and Reish Lakish says no, kol shedar cholim knows. Not that you're gonna count, but everything you count. Shanina, that's what we learned. Honey, I understand why he would say that the egg is chashav and doesn't get mevatel even in 1,000 because it counted according to Rishon Malakish. From the fact that you counted, that means that it's chashav and doesn't get mevatel. I understand, but Rabbi Yochanan, how could he answer my Meimar? Amar Rav Papa, says Rav Papa, Hai Tana Tani Litra Kitzios too. Amar Kol Davar Sheva Minyan Afilu B'Derabanan Lo Batil V'Kol Shekain Deraisa. And so we have to see exactly what these shitas are, but Rabbi Yochanan found a shita that, or not Rabbi Yochanan, yeah, according to Rabbi Yochanan, how could you understand why the Chachamim, why the Rav Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak, who said that the reason of the Mishnah that they said it was Azar was because of the Gezerah. And so then if it's because of the Gezerah, then why would the subject be Azar? So they had to say it's talking about a subject treifa. Oh yeah, well if it's a subject treifa, then why would it be not batal even in 1,000? So they said, oh, because it's a chashav, it's darko limno, you're supposed to count it. They say, wait a second, that makes it according to Reish Lakish, who says anything you count is chashav. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, not everything you count is chashav. So then the Gemara says, oh, I'll answer it, because it's like this Mishnah, the following Mishnah, that says that everything that you count, even if it's a derabanan, it's still not batal. And obviously deraisa, it's not, because it says in a Mishnah, Shkaya, Litra Kitzios, Shedarsa
Amen.
Okay.
Rabbi,
So you have like a liter of like of vegetables that you squished on a circle. I don't know. You don't know which one you squished it with. I'll be chaviz. You squished it on a chaviz, on a barrel, and you don't know which one you did. I'll be kaveras. Kaveras is like a hive or something. You don't know which one you squished it. Reb Meir, Omer, Reb Eliezer, Omer. Reb Meir says the Reb Eliezer says Rowan es el yodim ki ilu hein prudos that tachtonim maalos es el yodim. You see the top ones that they're different and the bottom ones raise the tops. Reb Yehuda says im yesh sham mea pumim. If there's 100 mouths, yalu they come up him lava punim asurim v'ashtulayim mutarim. The top is Azar and the bottom is Mutter. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Rabbi Eliezer, his machlokas Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua is different. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Eliezer. Sorry, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir are arguing. This machlokas Rabbi Eliezer and Organist and Rabbi Yeshua. And he's saying Rabbi Eliezer says if there's 100 mouths, they come up. Yalu v'imlav, the mouths are azar and the bottoms are mutter. Rabbi Yoshua says even if there's 300 mouths, they don't come. Darsa be'ego ve'eno yadua be'eze ego darsa. You don't know which one. Divrei akol yalu, divrei akol. Hainu plugsa. What do you mean divrei akol? It's a big machlokas over here. Amar Papa comes from Papa and says, Agmika Amar. This is what we're saying. Darsa be'ego ve'ede odea. Be'eza makom be'ego darza ilutzfona iludroma. You don't know which part in the ego. We're not even sure what is this circle. It's something to do with making food. But you don't know which part of the circle you made on it. Everyone says that it comes that like yalu, that it comes up, and we're not sure what that is. But shkayach, because we just had to see the Gemara until Dalet Amud Aleph. And so we have like a few minutes left. It's the 3 weeks now. We need to focus on They're on the Chavero, we got to focus on no kavod zavazeh. Obviously, if we want to grow as people, the most important thing is learning Torah. Because Pinchas Ben Yair says Torah brings you to Zehiras. To even start the Mesilas Yesharim's ladder. So, Mir Hashem should be zocheh to climb the ladder and learn the Torah and steig. Now, we see some Rashis, right? We see that they had one reason and never saw it. Okay. We're going back to the Meisvei. The challenge, they talk about Muksa. Echad Beitza that's born on Shabbos, Echad Beitza that's born on Yantif. In Metaltalin Osa. You can't carry it. So now we're going to see Rashi. Meisvei Ahanach Amorai Kamoi the Iflug V'Taima de Beizilel. So the challenge that we're asking is on the Amoraim that say that the reason of Beis Hillel saying Aser was because of a Gezerah. Those are the people who are coming to slug up that we're asking all these questions and they're being forced into because at the one hand the suffix is Aser, on the other hand that it doesn't come up even in 1,000 tarobas. So they're going to have a hard time making that shtim, which is probably another reason why everywhere the Rambam and the Rif Paskin like Rabbah, because the whole thing is about Achana. So it says, Lalbo lekasos ba'ezakli, P slochis, to cover a vessel with it. I couldn't figure out what it meant. But Rashi says very clear. You have a beer bottle, you want to cover it, take the egg and use it to cover the bottle. This is before the time when they came with caps. No cap. And the smochba. So Clowns by his question, how in the world are we putting a bed on an egg? Rashi says, Zogba keneged chuda v'somechba. That like if this is the egg, like the top of the egg, I don't know, we have to do a science project to see how much the egg can really withstand, how much pressure. Even though you cannot move the egg, you can move the vessel for the egg. Rav Yitzchak says that you can't move a vessel unless you're moving the vessel for another vessel that you're allowed to touch. So he would say that how could the Gemara tell you how to move the kli? That's only if you had to move the kli anyways because you needed the space. And so then once you're holding the kli, you can put it over the e. And it says the svega and the savek of the egg shalzo asura kazo gedaita of savek noah beyond if savek noah bechol. We thought in the Havamina that the savek is when was it born? But then if that was the savek, then why would it be savek? Why would it be savek asura? If you tell me the reason it's savek asura is because of Rabbah, because of Chada Deraisa, okay. But according to the Hani Amorai, that said the reason is the Gezerah. So why would the savek be out there? Savek Derabanan, the Gemara asks, right?
One man.
The itzar, even if it's definitely because the Gezerah Kiavile Sfega, it's Havi Savik Midi, it's Derabanan. And Savik Derabanan is the Kula. So then they have to answer this question of Savik. And if they answer, they say, no, talking about Savik Trefa. It's a Savik that is born from an egg. Savik knows going to be time to go with chicken as a Trefa. And not an Yantif. The Ka'iri, the Idr Beitza, Iri Nami Bahat, so it's also Savik Deraisa. And I think I was going to say, well, then wait a second. What about diversification material? And how is it? Ola in the 1,000s doesn't even come up in Tarov as in a mixture. We're going to see that tomorrow. Shkach Gadol Emir Hashem this week. We're gonna finish Daf Gimel. If we continue doing a Daf a week, Be'ian, we're golden. Shkach.